Hello YouTubers, you join me today in the Nunney village. We've come to look at the castle, which is over here. And we're going to have a look around the castle and the church and see what else is here. Built in 1373 by John de la Mare, Nunney Castle sits in a little moat in the middle of the village of Nunney. Originally it would have been surrounded by a much larger courtyard which would have had the outbuildings around it, but now it has the moat and a bridge, and it allows you to enter the castle across the moat there. Slighted in the Civil War, sadly, as are most of our castles. The tower was an architectural centrepiece of the castle, and it's, as I say, it was built by John de la Mare under the royal licence issued in 1373. Formerly stood within a large courtyard, and they would have had all the ancillary buildings that supported the castle, and the people themselves would have lived within this tower. So John wasn't really that rich, which is why it's not a very large castle, but he was growing in favour at the time, and this castle displayed that growth in his favour. Let's go in, shall we? Well, here we are in the main part of the castle. You can clearly see the four turrets in each corner. One over there, one over there, and two more over there. These would have originally been stair turrets. If we have a look inside, you can actually see the course of the stairs running up. The main chambers would have been higher up on the top floor. Lower down here you would have had the kitchens, the cellars, the servants' areas. I'm given to understand that that large chimney area over there would have been part of the cooking range, but above it you could clearly see fireplaces together with large windows. And here was the well. Further stonework. He really built these to last. I mean, look at the thickness of that wall. Look at that stonework. And you can see the windows would have had grates in them, and the arches at the top there. And here in the doorway would have been the guard area. This would have been where the guards stood, and you can see, look, this was part of the locking system of the door. And the ceiling up there, you can see clearly too. So, let's have a look around, shall we? echo there. Richard Prater, a rich Londoner, bought the castle in 1570, much the same as people do in London buy holiday cottages down here now, and it was extensively modified at that time. However, later it was slighted and all this damage done by the parliamentarians when they decided to come and attack it. Sadly, a lot of our castles in this country went that way. That's the joys of a civil war for you, isn't it? And that's the way it stayed pretty much until 1927, when it was taken to state ownership. It was cleaned up, the moat was redug, and it was pretty much put into the state it is now and open to the public. So here we are again, full circle. So, let's head off to the church. Sadly, this area is surrounded by rather large quarries, and which means rather large quarry lorries, which when you see the size of this lane that lorry just drove down, is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They shouldn't allow such large lorries down here. Crazy. The buildings here are absolutely gorgeous and old. Look at this. Because a lot of this village would have grown up around the castle. So, as you can tell by the mullions over the windows, a lot of these are 1500s, 1600s, these buildings. And the sign for the George pub runs across the road up there. The church looks to be open. Let's see if we can go inside. First time I found the church open in ages. Up there, that is Sir John de la Mare, who built the castle in 1383. Here we have Richard Prater and his wife. He in armour, she in her Elizabethan dress. Him sporting a rather nice codpiece, as was the fashion at the time. This is Sir John Paulet. And again, notice the earlier dress for his wife. And some beautiful stained glass. Looking at the church, I would say there's a large amount of Victorian renovation being done here. The ceiling certainly is Victorian. They've covered up the wood beams that would have been here. Here's the font with its cover. A date there of 1684. Beautiful. What a treat to actually get into a church. This year they've all been closed every time I've gone near one. It's not been a good one for visiting churches, but hopefully that will change now, because there are some beautiful churches in Somerset and I intend to visit many of them. So let's go and have a look at the outside now, shall we? That Lovely old manor house there, look. Could even have been the rectory at one point maybe. And of course the countryside comes right up to the village here. Beautiful. And as we swing round from the church towards the west, there's the castle coming into view. It is absolutely beautiful here, absolutely beautiful. So there's the north door. I wonder where that was when I was in the church. No sign of it inside, completely gone. And a closed off door there. So we've now left the church and we're walking down what would be the main street towards the George at Nunney. These buildings, look at them, they're beautiful. Because this, as I say, this village would have grown up around the castle, so some of these buildings would be contemporary with the castle. This is the George itself, and it has the sign that runs right across the road. And the George itself. And of course we're in tier 2 here. No, beg your pardon, yeah, tier 2. So we could go in and have a meal. Will be open. So let's go and have a look. They have a rather nice garden here which is by the river. So we're just going to have a quick look at this. Under a beautiful weeping willow tree. I love weeping willows, especially in the summer when you can sit underneath them. Absolutely brilliant. I have to say, if you're in Somerset and you're near Frome, this village is well worth a visit. I can imagine sitting out here during the summer, especially next year when COVID's hopefully a thing of the past, and you can come and sit out here, have a pint, view the castle in the distance and enjoy it, the beauty of this village. Over there, I have to say, is a lovely little cafe called the Moat. Had a coffee there when I first arrived. Very warm welcome, very nice coffee. But over here is what I wanted to show you just before we finish and I head home, because we're losing the light now, it's starting to get dark. The guardhouse. It says here, the overseers of the parish of Nunney had this village prison built, completed in the 1st of June 1824. Eventually it passed into the custody of the parish council. Lord knows what the parish council did with it. Maybe they locked people up, because obviously in 1824 we didn't have the police force then. So prisons as we know them, or should I say police stations as we know them, didn't exist. So if you were a bit of a naughty boy, or a naughty girl for that matter, you would have come here and been locked in for your sins. Maybe if you were drunk perhaps, or stolen somebody's crops, or nicked somebody's horse perhaps. There are many of these across the country in various towns and villages, most of them predating the police force. Now, there we go, and over here is my trusty steed for the journey home. I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to start getting out and about around Somerset now, because I think I've done Glastonbury to death pretty much. So thank you for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the visit to Nunney here near Frome. If you're in Somerset, this place is definitely worth a visit. The George looks really nice for a pint of Wadworth. Hopefully they've got 6X, which is one of the finest beers you can buy. I'm going to head home now. And until the next video, please like, subscribe and hit that like button to be told next time I do one of these videos. Thank you very much and bye bye.